Now I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce our next speaker, Bill Massey. And I'll just let you know that Bill and his wife Dorothy live on a small farm at Grosse Isle, Manitoba. And in the summer, they raise pigs and chickens. They keep about half a dozen laying hens over the winter, and they have about the same amount of sheep to keep the grass down around the machinery and so on. They both grew up on small farms, and it's pretty neat. They're living the life they did 50 years ago. And they both were teachers. They're now retired, but Bill is going to tell you a lot more of his story. But just to put in a plug for him, he's actually written a book, and his book, you can find out more information about it at www.billmassey.ca. So I'm presuming that Bill is going to talk more about this, but anyway, welcome, Bill. You'll need to unmute yourself now, and we're looking forward to hearing your story.
Thank you. Can everybody hear and see me?
Yep.
Good. Well, good evening. Thanks, Vicki and Janine, for this opportunity to speak tonight. I love the title that you chose for the series of webinars, and I want to talk about those hidden costs for our group and my family because of the Hogbarn. We live in Grosse Isle, as Vicki said, and we're about 5,000 feet northeast of the Hogbarn on Rock Lake in Grosse Isle, the Hogbarn on Rock Lake Colony. After determined opposition from the community, the colony claimed they were replacing existing facilities in their hog operation, which they said contained 889 animal units. The barn was completed in late 2006, and by December, the smell was atrocious for anyone downwind of the barn. The southwest wind was our friend no longer, but more on that later. We initiated an investigation with the Farm Practices Protection Board that revealed the operation had grown to 1,437 animal units. This began a long struggle to keep the colony within the 889 limit. The municipality of Woodlands eventually had them reduced to appropriate numbers by March of 2009. The municipality conducted an investigation again in 2012 at the request of the two neighboring municipalities. They discovered this time that there were 1,290 animal units in the barn and made the claim they had reduced the population in March of 2013. They refused to give us any information, and I suspect that no third party ever went back into the barn or has since a Farm Industry Board investigation in 2014 that revealed the colony had 1,125 animal units. And so on it went. We complained to the municipality about the smell and requested a count. They expected the colony to self-monitor and maintain their animal units and refused to conduct a third-party count. We knew from the smell and other factors such as road traffic that the colony has been over in their count ever since. An ombudsman's investigation, which took several years, turned out to be very disappointing because they refused to go back to 2004 and consider the evidence we have about the numbers, stating that too much time had passed. We were unable to proceed with any initiatives until that investigation had been completed. Otherwise, it would have halted the process. The one good thing about it was it gave me time to write my book. Here it is, of pork and potatoes. And I've been in communication with our MLA, Ralph Eichler, and he agreed to meet with us once the investigation was finished. I called him last fall and he suggested we should include the Minister of Conservation in the meeting. This was exactly what I wanted because my purpose was to get conservation to count the pigs at the colony. Ralph said that he would set that up. I got in touch with Ralph in the third week in January of this year, and he told me the meeting would not include the Minister of Conservation. And so I asked if we could meet with him. At that meeting, Ralph said the minister refused to meet with us, and I think he was embarrassed about this development. At the end of January, I wrote the minister a letter requesting a meeting. On March 11th, we received a reply from Deputy Minister Gray of the Department of Municipal Relations, outlining the department's position, which includes misinformation about the number of units on the colony in 1998. Before their request to expand, the colony had a 1,250 sow to weanling operation, and we're finishing 2,000 animals in 10 biotechs for a total of 658 animal units. The province has taken the position that the colony had a 1,250 sow to finish operation, which would have meant 1,562.5 animal units. I had discussions with Petra Laura about this misconception on the part of the province, which I remember is very frustrating. She seemed unwilling to hear anything I had to say. I've received a legal opinion on this latest development, and it is not good news for us. If we were to carry this matter forward to the courts, or I assume the Farm Industry Board, the colony could argue on the basis of this letter that the intensity of use in their hog operation has not increased. As well as that, recent court decisions set out that the municipality is entitled to be given substantial deference in the application and interpretation of its bylaws. So there you have it. This has been our experience with the government over the past 16 years, where they will take every twist and turn imaginable to support this industry that, in my opinion, is not sustainable environmentally, ethically, or even financially. I want to talk about some of the other hidden costs to my community and to us personally. Dorothy and I had a very good relationship with the colony before this began. She made friends with some of the women who taught her to spin once we got sheep on the farm. She in turn sold crafts for them at the local craft sale. We were invited into their homes and I did business with them. All that changed when I became leader of the group that opposed their plans for expansion. It came to a head one Christmas season. The colony had received a truckload of coats that had been exposed to smoke in a warehouse fire. They spread out these coats on a field to air out and took what they wanted. The women called Dorothy and asked her to help them deliver the rest to charity. Dorothy had injured herself and was on crutches, so I suggested I would come over with her to help collect the coats. After the truck was loaded, I was standing outside waiting while the women gave Dorothy some baking. The wife of the Hogbarn manager saw me standing there and shouted at Dorothy, "Is that Bill Massey? Why is he here? He is making our name black." Dorothy was never invited back. We're not the only ones in the community who are unwelcome at the colony, and that's a shame. For one of our meetings of our group, we invited a local real estate agent to come and speak with us. He told us he would not sell a property within 2 miles of an intensive livestock operation. There are 12 homesteads within a mile of this barn, and the village of Gras Isle is within 2 miles and has a population of 150 people. We are all affected. I have had people call me about buying property at Gras Isle, and I tell them what the real estate agent told us. We're on a giant aquifer here, and the underground flow of water is in a southeast direction. The effects of this operation on the groundwater that feeds our wells could extend even further than 2 miles downstream. I also tell them about the possibilities of contamination of the water supply. I can't tell you how important this place has been for my family during the pandemic. We have separate accommodations for them so we can social distance and they can enjoy this farm. The grandchildren are all over our 12 acres, building bale forts, playing hide and seek, checking out the pigs, chickens, and sheep. The adults have their toys here also and relax and unwind with go-karts, dirt bikes, and snowmobiles. Before we plan any kind of activities outdoors, we check the wind direction. And if it's from the southwest, we look for another day. I'm very concerned about the state of the environment and the long-term effects this hog barn will have, polluting the environment, creating health concerns, and social costs for my family and the community. I'm also concerned about the position and attitude the government has for this industry and the environment. We need to do our best to change that. I've always been very close to the land, and I've watched the changes in agriculture over my lifetime. I'm concerned about the future and the legacy that we leave behind. I want to end with this poem I wrote about the southwest wind, as it was before the barn was built. When the barometric pressure drops, we can hear the train whistle from the main line at Rosser, miles away. It often means rain. I remember one occasion when I stood under the veranda of the barn and watched a wall of water from a thunderstorm crossing the field towards me. Spread my ashes in the fields. I hear the long, low moan of a train miles away. The barometer is falling and there's a southwest breeze. I can smell the rain in the air this day. I hope it means that this drought will ease. I watch a wall of water march across the yard. From the shelter of the veranda on the front of the barn, the life-giving moisture pours down hard, nurturing plants and hope once again on the farm. I smell the fresh earth and the bounty it holds. I thank the spirits of the soil for all that they give. I need to care for this land and nurture it so the ones who follow have the same future to live. Spread my ashes in the fields all over this farm. I want to be part of the growth and rebirth each year. Let them say about me that I have done no harm, and know I am part of the land I hold near. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bill.
Oh, that was so beautiful, Bill.
Yes, it was so beautiful. I just want to make the point, in case some of you who are listening don't know the difference between animal units and individual animals.